If you meet more than 3 assholes in a day, it's time to look at yourself.
Oh.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez Higgins.
Hi.
Hello.
And
hello. Oh my God, my masking voice again. It's so ridiculous. Why do I do this?
No, we're all just trying to get through.
I was just going to say we're all just trying to survive from day to day.
They say, try smiling when you're working out. It really does apparently do something in your brain to be like, this is a fine thing that I'm doing, you know? So maybe that's all. It's not masking. We're not pretending like everything's great. We're just smiling to trick our brains that doing bicep curls is fun, you know?
Hi, everybody.
But
I'm so happy to be here. Oh, my God. Margie, it's so good to see. No, I am too. That's the thing. I was just playing around. That's the voice I use when I tease Josh when he's like, God damn, you're a, he doesn't ever say you're a pain in the ass.
Sure.
But I know the subtext and I'm like, oh, okay. Do you want to have someone that talks like this? Oh, okay, honey. I'm not saying there's not a middle ground, but the message gets across real quick and he's like, oh, you're so annoying. I'm fine being annoying. But just know that, go ahead. What else is out there? If you want someone that's just going to be agreeable all the time, you're going to be real fucking annoyed. That's going to be annoying. Anyway, oh my God, Margie, I'm unhinged. This is what happens when I'm a little heated about capitalism this morning. So
the connection, I love that between yes.
Yep.
Listen, you unhinged me this morning when you sent me the mugshots of Wendy and Happy Eddie. However, I did read a little bit. So Wendy Osefo and her husband Eddie were arrested on numerous felony counts of fraud. But I did read through lightly read through some of the details of it. And it does sound it's disgusting. It's like insurance fraud. They were burglarized and claimed that a lot of very expensive shit was stolen. And then Wendy, idiot, was photographed wearing the jewelry and carrying the bags that she claimed had been stolen. And had in fact purchased and returned for cash refunds some of this. They're so sloppy. It's so gross. It's so cheap. They're so I can't believe they would let themselves get into something like this. They will be able to get themselves out of it. I don't believe they'll go to jail. They will pay hefty fines, but how stupid, how greedy, how fucking greedy. I can't.
it was the last thing I expected to see when I opened the internet this morning. A couple of thoughts went through my mind. A, I fully expected this to come from the Kemsleys. If this was going to happen to anybody, I thought, oh, it's going to be the Kemsleys. But, Wendy has always had a little bit of arrogance. We know this about her.
16 felony counts, so how the mighty have fallen.
Yep. Yeah, the article I read was in Us Weekly, and it said that, because I try not to get TMZ, my clicks. Jesus, no one tuned in for my...
It's fine. You read it on Us Weekly. Yeah?
I read it on Us Weekly. My point is that they said that they are in considerable amounts of debt. So when am I going to get it through my head that when people are like, money, 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 success, 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 when they have to spell it out for me, I should know you've got something to hide. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just feels like that's when it always happens. And I'm trying to think if I feel like the DeBros often talk about, okay, the DeBros spend $28,000 on Nobu for a party at their house or $100,000 on a birthday party. But I don't know if they talk about it like Stephanie or Wendy has about well, we're this. Heather will talk about her endeavors that end up going, we don't hear about them ever again.
Fireside,
the skincare, HD Fire or whatever, Fireside. Man, housewives are going to housewife. And getting arrested on
God.
federal charges is now,
Yeah,
what,
basically.
50-50? Like 50%
And
of
but
them
that's
have,
what's so
50% of them haven't.
ridiculous about
Anyway,
this is like she'd been on the show before this happened. Like you are so exposed. That's the time you're going to choose to commit like petty insurance fraud. Not petty. I mean, the amounts are gigantic, but still, it's like it's just unnecessary. You could do one more TV appearance. You could do like it just is so it's so short-sighted and it seems so greedy and
they're
truly,
poor
that must
kids,
be
man.
absolutely terrifying and it will change their future. But hopefully, it means the next generation will not be so obsessed with conspicuous consumption because it's bullshit.
Mm,
It
yeah.
just is. So you have
Yeah.
a lot of stuff and then you get obsessed with keeping up the appearance of having a lot of stuff. And then you pull shit like this. What other reason is there other than to like continue? Like it wasn't an option to downsize and get to a smaller home. Instead, you commit insurance fraud. Like this just seems so, what has happened? I am so lost.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's
It
like real
is,
life White
right?
Lotus. Tim, just say my
It is.
stuff
You're
got
so
stolen.
right.
That's a little gnarlier. I'm sure that was way gnarlier than what the SFOs did, but we'll never see it unless Mike White does a spin-off about that
Well,
family. And
remember
honestly,
the
I would
most
tune
recent
into that.
episode of White Lotus, some of his characters were based off of Real Housewives. Yeah, so
Oh,
let's
that's right.
not
Oh,
rule it
that's
out.
right. He's a huge all roads lead to Bravo.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. The reason why we are all here is because we're discussing part 2 of the Real Housewives of Miami season 7 reunion. This is episode 18. And goddamn, I didn't think I could have Julia get lower and lower in my opinion than I did. I feel naive because I don't know who to believe now. Talk about team nobody in 100-point typeface, bold, italic, underlined, whatever you can do to emphasize it. Those two are, Hochstein is the most sane person on that stage. And
Ain't
what
that
the
the truth?
fuck
Yeah.
did I ever think? Yes.
I just think the best line of the whole episode was, I don't know how we top the Haitian Mortician. I was like, this
Bruh.
show is so unserious and yet so serious. And I just love everything about it. While I do believe this reunion could have been accomplished in 2 parts, because we did have quite a bit of filler in this episode, I would not have wanted to miss so much of at least the first half of this episode was just one ridiculous claim after another. And I think I'm team nobody as well, but I'm just team nobody spinning your stories. You guys had a friendship, it turned sexual, and now you're bitter ex-lovers. So we don't need all the bullshit of like, you were trying to build a storyline and you were doing this. It's like, no, you weren't. You guys you took it to a place and then you fell out and now you don't like each other. And we don't have to pretend Julie was grooming Adriana by calling her Snow White and showing her butt. Shut up. I feel like
use that word in my
give me
notes.
a
I use
fucking break.
grooming. Oh
Like
my God.
girls
You're
do
right.
that. We're like,
I
you have great
know,
boobs. You have
I
a great
know.
butt. Like that's not like nobody's playing a long game there.
Yeah, you're right. You're
but now
right.
everyone's trying to like, I don't know. But I just think Julia's hideous. She's really just trying to rip the focus off what like a microaggressing see you next Tuesday she's been all season by trying to make the whole season about this affair. And I guarantee you Martina is pissed. Andy asked, does Martina know, or like, is Martina okay with you sharing this? And she was like, Martina knows. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, no wonder Martina wasn't
Yeah.
there. No wonder Martina wasn't there. She's taking care of the
she
kids.
probably
like,
is. But again,
okay.
like I said last week, I think Julia chose
Yeah.
this moment because she knows she's just secured 2 new babies with Martina. So it will be real hard for Martina to divorce her. You know, she'd have to think real hard about that. So Julia's manipulated a great position to go ahead and like be a victim on TV to the best of her ability. I did love everyone laughing at her when she tried to play victim. But anyways, what a ruckus.
Me too.
A cop, a Haitian mortician, Adriana. Oh, what a roster.
Alexia saying, I would get it at the Versace
She's like, that's
mansion.
hot.
I can
would
see
do that.
Like
They all did. That flashback, I was like, good
yeah,
Lord.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh,
With the victims everywhere, in every family and every housewife that we've talked about so far this morning, the Osefo's children, uh, Julia's children. My God. Adriana saying, I
oof.
swear on my son's life. Like everybody's children were leveraged and traumatized by their housewife mothers. And I just like, that really, that is what I'm keeping in the forefront. I hope that everyone has support, reliable support right now. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, I don't mean to bring the mood down. Ugh, really judging
Look,
myself hard
it's in
here.
the water. After the Salt Lake City episode, that was all about mothers, and as they say in Al-Anon, if it's not one thing, it's
Oh
your
my God.
mother. And I felt like that Salt Lake City episode just steeped us in mommy issues. And so by the time last night came around, it was like thematically that was going
Yeah.
on Bravo this week. So it's no wonder it's in your headspace.
So we resume where we left off last week. Julia has just dropped the bombshell that she and Adriana slept together in the Hamptons during their cast trip in 2021. We see the footage and it's like, duh, the writing was on the wall. But also, like to what you just said, a lot of female friendships can be super like touchy-feely, like affectionate, and it doesn't necessarily mean that there's like a
No,
sexual
but theirs was
undertone
different. I
to it.
remember watching it and I was like, I have lots of like close girlfriends, but there was something their friendship was charged. There was a lust there that felt real. And I did think it was interesting that Julia said they slept together before the friend engagement, which was always my suspicion that Julia did that to secure Adriana's silence and loyalty, to be like, and now you are my friend. You are married to me as a friend, so you cannot betray me by saying this secret, which Julia also kept for 4 years and now wants us to feel bad for her, as if Adriana manipulated her into doing that bullshit. You asked her to be your friend after that happened, to get friend engaged to her after that happened so that she would not tell Martina. And apparently Julia was like tearing through ass of all kinds for a spell there. Good Lord. And again, Lisa Hawk's the insanest person on that stage. Julia claims she was ashamed and embarrassed of this momentary lapse of reason in her life. And she reveals that Martina does know this information. And Lisa, without hesitation, goes, then why bring it up? And I was like, absolutely. Why say this publicly unless it's exactly what you're accusing Adriana of, which is a storyline / a distraction from what an asshole you've been in other ways all season long. So now you're going to try and paint yourself as a victim by being an adulteress. Okay, if you say so.
Yeah, saying she was mentally and psychologically abused by Adriana for 2 years. I'm not saying that she didn't experience that. I would
No,
absolutely
but she
not
had a part in
say
it.
that.
She committed adult. Like, come on, dude. Yes.
It's her victimhood that's making me so angry about it, and the fact that I don't feel like I can trust her at all to say this. Oh my God. And this, what exemplified that first is Julia says that when she and Adriana became super close, it was when she and Martina were having problems. And so she basically is blaming this on Adriana. She says, you knew this. Like she's
Took
saying that
advantage.
Adriana
Right.
swooped in and took advantage of the fact that she was having a hard time in her marriage. And I just wrote, I am beside myself. I am beside yourself. I'm beside every fucking self on the planet who's ever selfed. With the audacity of Julia to, I mean, this is also probably why her kids aren't talking to her. They know about all of this. They're like, dude, the straw that broke the camel's back is you telling us about adopting kids.
I felt the same way when
after the
at
fact.
the end, Julia does say, my children know about this. And I was like, oh, well, no wonder they're not stoked about you adopting 2 kids to try and patch up a marriage that has been rocky at best for a decade. Like, that's terrifying. And I do agree with Adriana that Julia's an opportunist. I think she's using these kids to try and save a marriage. And I think that's fucked. I don't like this at all. But yes, I'm with you. Yes. Boo-hoo, Julia. Like, you have agency in your own life. You have agency in your own marriage. And you could leave your marriage. You could make your own demands of your marriage. And you can just own up to stepping out instead of being like, I was vulnerable and she swooped in and took advantage. It's like, no, you made a choice. And like, it's okay if you don't like that choice anymore. But like, you made a choice a few times with a few different cops, morticians, and castmates.
When you have the financial means to seek out support for your marriage or yourself, and it's also something that it's not like it's not talked about anymore. Going to therapy is, while I wish it was as common as going to the doctor, again, if you have fucking access to go to the goddamn doctor in this country, don't get me started. I'm not saying that Julia doesn't have a significant amount of substantial, horrifying trauma
sure.
in her past. I am awful,
But it's not
horrible
black and
trauma.
white.
Yes, and she is also firmly middle-aged with income that will facilitate her getting the best of the best care should she want it. Whether Martina would be open to going
It
to
doesn't
couples counseling
matter.
with her,
It's all on her
No,
side
you're
of the
right.
street
It
as far
doesn't
as I'm
matter.
concerned, you know?
Yeah. So everyone's real concerned about wanting to know exactly how it went down. It just cracks me up because, like, Alexia would have done anything to get a
She was
play-by-play or
obsessed.
have been a fly on the wall. I was
But
shocked.
again, it's
Yeah,
like,
it
and
was
it doesn't matter
crazy.
if it's female, female, male, female, male, male. If it's something that you would be uncomfortable if your partner was doing that with someone else, whether it's heavy petting, snuggling, kissing, like it's different for every couple. But like if you would be uncomfortable with them doing that, then it's cheating. So boom. But we missed this little part here where
Right.
Julia claims Adriana controlled her life and all of her friendships with this information. And she would say that Julia owes her all of her Real Housewives fame, which sounds like it might be true. And it is shitty of Adriana to lord that over her. And then Adriana tells us that Julia is a fraud and goes, "What's your real name?" And I'm expecting her to say, like, "It's Vladimir Putin." And we find out it's Yulia. It's like, not the sick burn you were going
Yeah,
for, my
dude.
dear. Okay.
It's not at all. See, it's like Adriana has proven to be extreme. Like, she's obviously problematic. She sunk to depths the season that, well, no, I
Oh
mean,
my God.
she sinks to depths. Like the Frankie comparison
Unrecoverable.
was a
But
subterranean
she's charming
depth.
enough that she
Right,
can win us
exactly.
back episode by episode. She can win me back episode by episode. And I almost
same.
forget. And then she dips her toe back in and I'm immediately, it's the whole barrel of apples is rotten all over again.
To have a psychology degree and still behave like this is, again, it takes a certain brand of person to be a housewife. And I don't have that in my DNA and I don't understand it. And I'm grateful for that because I'm horrified and like, oh God, how do you look at yourself in the mirror and be okay with this behavior? Anyway. Andy is so, oh God, he hasn't been this stoked about,
Yes.
this was a bomb. And the fallout, like the context continues to be a bomb. And Andy is like just fixated. He asks Marisol if she believes that they had an affair. And she says, yeah, it's a one-nighter, sure. And Adriana asks would she have lorded this over Julia's head? And Marisol's all,
Have you met her?
Yeah, she would have, yeah. He asked the rest of the cast, do you guys all think that they hooked up?
Kiki
And
tried to
everyone's
swoop
like,
in and
yep.
say, like, some marriages have open arrangements. And Julia was like, no, that's not the case with Martina. I cheated. And that's why Adriana could blackmail me for 4 years. And Julia says that Martina cried when Julia told her she would be revealing this on national television this evening. And Gertie just goes, so many secrets. And I was like, oh my God.
I mean, I have to say, and not that I would be proud of this, but if I were Gertie watching this on stage after the treatment she's gotten from everybody, I would be smug.
And
I'd be sitting there
Gertie's
smugly.
right. So many secrets.
You know?
4 years of holding this secret in
many.
and then revealing it as if you've been victimized is hilarious. And there are so many secrets because this is where we get to Adriana saying, Julia was in a bad place in her marriage when we hooked up, and she was also cheating on Martina with a Haitian mortician. And I just wrote, I love this show. And she goes into detail claiming Julia would pay for a motel and bring champagne and bang the mortician. And then she had to promise him a coffee machine to secure his silence. I was like, this show is a Mad Lib. None of those words belong in the same sentence. And I'm here for it. I'm living for it. I'm relishing in it. And I believe every ounce of it.
You cannot make up that she had to buy
she had
him
to buy
a
a
coffee
Haitian
maker. That is a
mortician
detail
a coffee
that
machine.
I don't know. I mean, you've been in myriad, countless writers' rooms.
This would be laughed out of the room because it's, as they would say, too broad. It's like, none of those are things that are based in any kind of humanity or real life. And then I would be able to play this scene. I'd be like, please pull up a scene from the Real Housewives reunion.
Oy, 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 oy. So Julia says she shared those affairs
because
with
there was
Adriana
another
in
one.
Confidence.
There was one with a cop as well that Adriana also drops. So yes.
Again, it's this language. I clocked this the other night. I gave it my best shot to take notes for Salt Lake City, thinking I would be able to recap it by myself. That episode was so chunky and dense with things that pinged all of the things I've worked on in therapy. My point is, let me not go off on a tangent. Julia and Lisa Barlow, the way they explain things is very passive. Julia said, I shared with Adriana in confidence my certain situations I had. Lisa said something the other day like that made Josh and I both like our eyes flew open wide. We looked at each other like, are you kidding me? Did she just really say that? Like something like basically both of these women are using language that completely takes their part in it.
They won't answer a direct question. Andy says, did you have these affairs? And she says, I shared that information with Adriana. It's like, so the answer is yes. And in a court of law, people would object for evading the question. Like, yes. And I appreciated Adriana for calling it out. She's like, you have a pattern. You are a liar and a cheater. And that doesn't mean that's the totality of who Julia is, but for anyone who's been cheated on, that is the taste that's left in your mouth after something like that. You know what I mean? So I wasn't, and again, if Julia was any kind of like evolved human being, she would say something like, I went through a period of my life where I behaved in that way. I hurt people I cared about. I'm earning their trust back and working on myself, but that's not who Julia is. So she's just like, boo-hoo, Adriana made me. What?
I know. God, it was fascinating. So they go to break.
Just this moment of Julia, more levels of victimhood when Adriana says you have a pattern, you're a liar and a cheetah, and Julia spreads her arms out and says, whatever I am right now, you're malicious. And it's like, you are both horrific women. You deserve each other and gross. And Gertie even says, always the victim, always the victim.
Always a victim. Yes, I loved it. Shame her maliciously. Like, it's a projection, dude. When these people are so motivated to look for things outside.
Again, it's two people like pitching the ball back and forth instead of taking any responsibility, because Adriana says, you're promiscuous, you cheat on your wife, and I'm the bad guy. And it's like, well, you didn't cheat on anyone's wife, but you knew she was married. You'd met and hung out with Martina. You'd met her children. It's not great. And also you lorded it over her head for 4 years. Also gross. So like, yes, you're also a bad guy. Everyone's a bad guy. But Adriana goes and sits on a little unlit portion of the couch to separate herself from the group. Just flooded in dark pink light to be dramatic.
Oh, my God. Team nobody, as you say, team nobody. So as they go to break, Andy wants Adriana and Julia to consider coming out of this together. Adriana says, I'd never go for Julia, you dirty little whore. Oh, my God. Just absolutely zero class, zero ways to get out of this without having to make considerable repair. Astounding. So leaving the stage, you hear Stephanie say she's such a snake, and you hear Gertie say she's pathological. And I obviously know that Gertie is talking about Julia, but is Stephanie also talking about Julia, or is she talking about Adriana?
Who knows? It applies. Yes, exactly.
It applies
it's a universal
to both of them,
label
but
at this point.
That's why. So they head from the stage to go backstage to their dressing rooms and take a lunch break. And Andy is walking out with Alexia and Julia and says that he never saw this coming. And what I noticed about this is that Julia tells Andy that she hasn't been able to speak her truth in 4 years. Andy, I tried so much, Andy. She tells him they slept together once, then fooled around at the Versace mansion at Alexia's bachelorette. Again, too broad, as you would say in a writer's room, but also like, oh yeah, they hooked up at the Versace mansion.
And the way they just
this
so
is
casually
amazing.
says it, like, yes, in the Hamptons we slept together and then we messed around at the Versace mansion. It's like as if that's everyone's, like, we all stop in those places and have weird, horny escapades.
We all
Oh
have
my
affairs
God.
with Haitian morticians
In
and
a
then have to buy them a
motel.
coffee maker.
Crazy. Anyways.
Oh my God. So I noticed when they're walking from the stage to their dressing rooms, Julia is talking to Andy like a young child talks to a parental figure
Yep.
when they're pleading their case or really trying to like convince that parent, like, I'm good, I'm good. She is just like so desperate to get ahead of the narrative and make sure Andy, Daddy, Papa Andy, still loves her. And I can only assume, I can only project that she is seeking this approval because she's coming from a traumatized young place, and that still does not excuse anything that she has just shared or done
And
or does or
she's a narcissist.
any of her behavior
she
and
needs to be
choices. Yeah.
seen as like wonderful
Yeah,
and
dude.
great, or a victim, or both, if at all possible. And that's what she's pleading here for. And I love Andy. He just keeps asking direct questions. He asks if Martina will be upset when she sees this, and Julia does another one of her passive answers, like you say, saying, Martina knows, and I told her why. And the question was, will she be upset when she sees this? And the answer is, of fucking course she will be, because this is humiliating for her. It's so self-serving for Julia to do this. It's humiliating for Martina. These poor young boys, her adult daughters, now everyone has to add this to the amount of, you know, like the laundry list of shit they have to explain about their mom. Anyways, it's a lot. And then
It's
Julia
so
claims she
much.
has to say the truth because she can't lie, except for the past 4 years and all of the other things she's lied about, from Captain Sandy's cruise to heavy petting Adriana. It's like, come on, man.
And we talked about this a few weeks ago, maybe during the finale episode or the penultimate episode. You said when you work through your 4-step, you said it so much more succinctly than I'm about to say it right now, but like when you live in your truth, you don't have to be afraid of living every day. Like you're not going to be discovered. Oh
No, that's
God,
right.
Margie, what am I saying? What am I saying?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but it still doesn't feel like she's actually admitting all of the truth. So the details might be out there, but I don't imagine she's going to find any relief waking up the day after she tapes that reunion because it's finally all out there,
Well,
and now she
she's
can be
justifying the truth with lies.
I don't know.
You know, that's the whole
That's
point
what
of the
I'm saying,
4-step when
yes.
you get to that last column of what is my part. And Julia's just continuing to carry the resentment and justify and explain her own bad behavior instead of saying, like, I did a bad thing. That is not who I am. And so now I move forward with great intention to behave in a way that is more respectful of myself and everyone in my life. But that's not what she's doing. She's just like, look at Adriana. Look at Adriana.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So unserious.
It really is. So Andy always, when they go to lunch break, he doesn't want to have anything to do with these casts. He's like, I need to fucking go scroll on my phone or whatever. And you can tell that like every part of him that lusts for gossip and behind the scenes shit, the salaciousness of these casts, like he's riveted. He's interviewing her basically on the walks back to their respective dressing rooms. And I was like, Andy, my God, have some shame, man. But it was just a stark difference to what
But
we see
it's
him
a
doing
hell of a
in other
bombshell. Like,
reunions.
we
with
had a
other
week
casts.
to sit with it. Like,
Well,
I think
yeah.
I would have been like, wait, what? And then we get to the everyone trying to
Yeah.
understand like lesbian sex segment, room by room by room. Everyone going like, so what did you do? What is it? Was there penetration? How do you define sex? Kiki watches lots of porn, so she knows. And then Julia,
Oh
this
my
holier than
God.
thou asshole, is like, I respect Adriana too much to share the intimate details. I'm like, you respect Adriana? What about yourself? What about your wife? What about, like, oh my God. Okay.
This made me doubt Julia saying that they had an affair because I feel like she would. It feels like if Julia had more information, she would come out with it to like give her
Not if she
story
wants to
more
stay married to
validity.
Martina. Is she really going to say, like, I
Okay,
ate her
so you
out
think
and you
even
think
just going
Martina's
into
not
the
going to file for
details?
divorce
Okay.
right there?
All right. Okay. Like, ma'am, do not appear to
Right.
act from
That's
virtue
exactly
now
right.
or righteous. Like, oh, I respect
No,
Adriana
you
too much. That
don't.
was insanity. So, yeah, she basically all she will tell Kiki and Alexia is
And
that they
Alexia asked
kissed
a
and they
good
were
question.
intimate.
She says, so you call it sex, what happened with her? And Julia said yes. And I was like, that, by the way, is all anyone needs to know about infidelity. Because again, that definition can be different for anyone in any couple, but like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. This is 2025. Sex is like it's a whole host of things.
right?
It's not just P and a V, God damn it. So we join Gertie and Russell in Gertie's dressing room, and Gertie tells Russell that Adriana is only telling them now because she was afraid Adriana would bring it up. And Gertie, she's like, Julie doesn't take marriage seriously, even after 9 engagements. 9 engagements is a lot of engagements. Like, that's more than Elizabeth Taylor,
Oh, I think Elizabeth
right?
Taylor went
Was
through with
Elizabeth
all the
Taylor?
marriages too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Russell says there's a pattern and no accountability. And again, I love Russell. And please, God, can we just have Russell, please?
I don't like you
Please,
saying
can we
it
just
like
have
that because it makes
Russell?
me think there's something out there and there's
I
not.
know.
So let's let him
No, there's
be.
not. I'm
Let's not
just
put that on
afraid.
him.
Okay. Okay.
He's
All right.
what if he's our
Okay.
like he's great. So I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until something comes down the pike, I would like to just live in a world where there's someone decent on our TV. But Gertie
Me
did
too,
lose
man.
me in
Me
this moment when
too.
she absolves Adriana of any accountability by saying, "Well, she was single as single can be." And it's like, well, that only applies as an excuse
Yeah.
if you, as the single
Yeah.
person, did not know this other person was married. But again, Adriana was immersed in the lives of the wife and children of the person she slept with. So, like, let's not be too quick to
Yes.
let everyone off the old hook here.
Yeah. I agree.
And Gertie would not, she would not accept that. If Russell got in the sack with a single woman, I don't think Gertie would be like, you're fine. That's fine. He's the one who took the vows. You're fine. No, 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 no. Everyone's a turd in that situation.
Totally. So I found it interesting. We pivot to Larsa's dressing room, and she's in there with Stephanie and Jeff Kobe. And Larsa speculates that Julia made it up about being with a Haitian mortician because she was in a bad place. And she said something that I was like, oh, is this an admission, Larsa? She's like, when you're not in a good place, it's easy to slip and fall. Like, okay, so sounds like you have firsthand knowledge. And listen, that's fine. But the fact that she doesn't talk about any of it and she's just like, and then she's like, Jeff, not me. I'm not going to slip and fall. But like, Larsa.
There's truth in that. She was in a 20-year marriage. I guarantee you one or both of them slipped and fell a couple times. And it's true. I've been in long-term relationships. And when you're in a bad place, it can, like, I have learned in therapy, do not put yourself in a situation where that could happen if you're in a bad place with the partner you're committed to, because it does suddenly seem like a viable option because I deserve it, or they're not doing this for me. I need this. It's like, no. So I learned in therapy, like, how to not get in any situation where that can be an option if I'm in a long-term partnership and I've not cleanly exited just yet. So I don't know. There's truth to that. And I did love Stephanie saying that Julia's a nymph. Me neither.
I haven't heard
I
that
love
word
that
in a
it's
long
coming
time.
back.
Really? No, I'm not happy about that word.
Oh, I think it sounds fun.
No. Clearly, that term was some man psychologist. Maybe it was even fucking Freud that came up with nymphomania. Women are allowed to enjoy sex and be sexual
But
people.
is it a condemnation or is it just like a statement of fact?
I think it was a condemnation. I think it was low-key like
I
slut-shamey.
mean,
I
the
don't
outside
know.
of the marriage part is not great, but like nymph, I don't know. I was happy to hear. It made me sort of go like, oh, hee hee. I forgot that word.
I was like, oh, Stephanie, of
Sure.
course you're going to use the word nymph anyway. So Adriana hears Julia talking to Alexia and Kiki and now Marisol. And Julia says that Adriana came to her and said, it'll be a ruse. You and I will be besties. Alexia and Marisol will be besties. And Adriana comes in and she's like, oh, are you rehearsing now? Are you rehearsing what you're going to say? I can see Adriana saying that. It's just so, oh,
I
God,
just think
Adriana.
it's the
If
way, the color with which Julia is painting this now. I bet Adriana said, like, look, there's these two girls that I do not get along with. I would love for you to be on this show and be my friend. I think you're great, you know? I bet this all came from a pretty pure place way back in the day. And also it's bullshit. Like Julia saying like Adriana cast me as her puppet. Maybe, but even if that's how it started, yours became a real friendship. We watched that evolve over years. Then it became a love relationship and then it turned sour. But I didn't like Adriana calling Julia a fool. She's like, you're a fool. I would have taken that to the grave. It's just so gross. They're just trying to win. Again, both people are just trying to win. And for me, the winner is always the person who goes like, you know what? I shouldn't have done any of that. You're right. Maybe you're right. But instead, they're both just like, you. And now I hate both of them. Team nobody.
Yeah, it's unbridled ego and it's like that desire for self-protection and
And
safety
looking
run
for
rampant.
specific reasons to shame the other person so that they'll shut up or disappear. And that is ugly. Ugly.
Mm. Yeah. Oof. Oof. And they both are like fueling it. Everyone's just throwing kindling on it. That's another thing they teach you in Al-Anon that I've always taken with me, whether or not I'm in those rooms or not. If you're arguing with someone that is, well, what they say is if you're arguing with a drunk or a dry drunk, you basically like the way you kind of stop it is you go, okay, or all right. You know, like if they're ranting about something, you go, No one
No.
is doing that in this situation. It's like they're getting something from the drama and from the conflict and from the salaciousness of it all. And I understand that we're all humans and we all rubberneck shit like this, but damn, just watching it is like, it is, yeah. It's entertaining and uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable when
So
Julia says
uncomfortable.
things like she claims she's on the side of justice. And it's like, oh my God, this is getting
Oh
very
my God,
global.
dude.
But we are all Alexia when she says she's never been more excited to come back from break in a reunion. And I was like, same. But she is truly fixated on understanding what happened between the sheets. She needs like mechanics, play by play. Like, I don't know why she can't just like understand. Yes, it was crazy.
She wants a PowerPoint. So they return to the stage from break, and Andy asks Adriana to clarify if they did mess around at the Hamptons. She says, I need to back up and tell you about the first time Julia groomed me. And Adriana says that she seduced her from the get-go and that she petted her
She
pussy in the
seduced her by
Hamptons.
calling her Snow White and then having a boob butt
Yeah.
show off in the bathroom. Yeah, and then
Oh,
Julia
God.
again like paints this in a light. I'm sure this was a joke when Adriana initially said it. Julia claims that Adriana asked Julia if she would ever leave Martina for her and what a good storyline that would make. And Julia paints it as if Adriana grew a mustache and was twirling it with wax. Like, no, I'm sure she was like, oh my God, would you ever leave her for me? Because that would be crazy. Like, I'm sure that came out in a moment of levity. And now Julia is deciding that this is like, she's been scheming all along, like a cartoon villain. And then she claims she became suspicious of Adriana's intentions in their relationship. Bullshit. If you were so suspicious,
know,
then
man.
like, why'd you get in bed with her? Why'd you keep quiet about it? Like, this is all, just stop. Quit it.
I know. Adriana says that when they were in Spain, Julia tried to fuck her there too. And Adriana said no. And Julia says that that Adriana is lying. And this is when Adriana swears on her adult son's life on stage for strangers to view. And I felt sick to my fucking stomach when I heard
because
that.
I don't
and when
believe
I saw
Adriana. I think I actually weirdly believe Julia that she was trying to avoid Adriana at that stage. I don't believe that she tried to like corner her, and they were not in that place. I don't know. What do I know? But according to Stephanie, she's a nymph. So maybe she just can't contain it.
Oh my God. So let's see. Julia goes full melodrama at this point and asks if their friendship is real. And then Adriana hands Julia the box with the broken heart in it and said that when they fought, she didn't
She
eat or
claims
sleep
Julia
for 2 days.
ripped her heart out of her chest. And so she presents it to her.
My
It's
God.
such a soap opera. I love these women. It is telenovela 101, and I'm here for it. I also love everyone on stage laughing because Adriana tries to make this dramatic gesture. And I love Adriana for being unfazed by the cackling castmates. She thinks it's so effective, her presenting this like ceramic heart in a cigar box. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it made me laugh.
Letting us all see the
Oh, I
corset that
know.
she's
Why?
wearing that when she's sitting we would never see, but then
dressed
I
her?
don't.
No,
and it
it
didn't
was
look like it was part
not.
of the dress. Like Julia's was, hers was built into her dress, but Adriana's was just like an industrial
Nude,
strength,
like
regular ass
suntan corset.
Yeah,
Like, oh my God.
I was like, okay, this is insanity. So thankfully, we're done with them, and we move to the Kiki package, and we see footage of her journey with her dad, Larest, and Andy asks her, "How's it going with him?" And she says it's baby steps, and then Kiki said something that makes your and I discussions about these shows like so easy. She said, "Something I'm working on is looking at the people I'm dating. I have the same pattern that I might have picked up from my relationship with my dad." And so because of that, she's celibate, and she's been celibate for, at this point, 1.5 years when they tape this reunion. I want to say, oh my God, like my hair stands up just even thinking about it again. Like this made my heart sing. Nothing we do comes just arbitrarily. We behave in every way, shape, and form. Our pasts inform everything. The way we cope, it affects everything. And I want to say that I also, the last 12-step room I entered was Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. And it was for this exact same reason. I had just been emotionally devastated by yet another man who, like, full fucking love bomber, full, like, future, like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And you deserve blah, 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 blah. And then was completely just like unavailable. And I was like, okay, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. So it was what, like 2010, I think. I was like, all right, uncle. So I went slinking into a slaw meeting. And so I took a break from dating. And it was hilarious because, you know, the last person that made me go, uncle, okay, I fucking qualify for this room in earnest. It's like they can sense it. They can sense when you're just like, nope. And I hadn't heard from him in a while. I went to a birthday party. He was there and he's like, hey, let's go out. And I was like, no. And then he called and I was all, I think I even told him, I'm like, I'm in Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. And I might have even told him because of the shit that went down between the two of us. And I'm taking a break. And he was like, okay. My point is, all roads lead to Bravo. I could relate to what Kiki said. And I'm very happy for her that she's doing this. And I'm sure it's going to end up she's going to be all the better for it. I hope that for her.
You know, I didn't care for this transition that Andy made saying, you know, Kiki credited Lisa with her reconciliation to her father with Lisa's reconciliation to her own father. And Lisa says she wishes she had just let go of what happened in her childhood. And I'm like, no. Like, Kiki is proof that you cannot let it go. It follows you. It haunts you in every relationship. You have to take the time and the space that you need to, like, heal, become whole. And then when you no longer, as an adult, when you no longer need anything from that parent, then you can revisit that relationship. But I just thought that was a little reductive for Lisa to be like, I wish I just let it go. Well, we all do, but that's not how it works. And by the way, that's how I self-destructed, was just trying to let it go and move past it. It doesn't work. It haunts you. It will come and get you, and it will demand your attention. And I love that Kiki is giving her attention to this piece of her that's demanding it right now. So she's a real example.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Andy asks Kiki that, were you surprised to learn you have a younger brother? and she said no, and that her dad wants more kids and he wants Kiki to take care of them. And I was just like, holy shit, man.
Well,
So
and that's the
baby
thing of
steps is
like, you
right.
have to take care of yourself so you can, it's that thing in Al-Anon that they teach about loving detachment, which is like, if he says, I'm going to have a bunch of young kids and I expect you to take care of them, you simply say, no, you'll have to make other arrangements. You know, like it's a crazy ask, but you can't be mean to them. Say what you mean, but don't say it mean, all that shit. And I did love this part
Yeah.
where Andy notes that this cast, and it's probably why I love it so much, this cast is comprised of a lot of immigrant families, first and second generation Americans. And that shared experience does bond this cast. And they all agreed on that, you know? And I think that's like a real thing. And I think that's part of what bonds us to that show is like, there's something, no matter what goes on, they all have an underlying respect or understanding of each other, the experience that they live. And I was glad that Andy like put words on that for all of us.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, I think that's what makes this particular cast so unique. They live in a very immigrant heavy city, and they are immigrants or their parents were immigrants. And so they have this shared experience and this just like this everyday thing, much like Los Angeles.
The
I loved it.
cultural
I love that he brought
demands
that
and
up.
the expectations of their family members in their mother countries, like they carry around a lot more than Kyle Richards, you know? She has her own trauma,
Yes,
but like
they do.
it's a different beast. Then we get into Stephanie and
Oh boy.
Alexia, and I just wrote like, who cares? We're basically going to talk about the Chihuahua versus Rottweiler, and Stephanie thinks she's more of an Afghan hound, which does not sound better to me.
Afghan hounds around the world looked up and flipped their beautiful hair. Were like, you leave us out of it, you messy bitch. Don't bring me into
And
this.
none of this really interested me except for Stephanie when she was talking about, she was asked about dangling her private jet in front of everyone. And Stephanie's explanation is that she grew up thinking show and tell was awesome. But she's realized now that not everyone's happy for you when you're an adult and you have a big, cool toy that they don't have. She says only when you tell someone that doesn't have a plane that you're happy about your plane do they call you a brat. And I'm like, no, you've missed the point. I don't believe that is so.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Andy called her out for that. Like, no, these shows, like, people have fucking planes and they can charter planes, and also, like, hello, we've been doing
And
this since
Alexia's
2008.
right saying, you know, Stephanie's plane is her identity. Like she leads with her wealth. And it took them a while to find a way to a friendship because that was in the way. And that's what Stephanie doesn't see. She thinks that's other people being sensitive. It's not. It's you putting up a massive barrier to be like, I'm different, I'm separate, I'm better. Okay? And it's like, it's very hard to be friends with someone who that's what they, you know, that's how they open the door is like, I'm better. We agree on this? Okay. It's like, well, then I can't ever get to know you because that's not humanity. And I liked Kiki using this moment to clarify that what she'd said about these women are not racist, but there are classist issues in the group. And Stephanie's presence has brought that into sharp focus. So there you go.
And I would also add to that you can't really talk about race without talking about class. But I understood where she was coming from. Her intent landed. Her impact of that landed with me. Kiki just came in with the sanity and the common sense. She's like the only one to me that feels safe on that cast.
100%.
You know?
Even though
She
they
feels
all like
safe.
looked at her like she was a pariah when she's like, I'm celibate. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
what? Like, it's like, you guys, do you notice how sane and centered she is? And she's not sworn off for life. She's just trying to not get in bed with a version of her dad again, which seems like a reasonable thing to do in your 40s. You know, go ahead.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
Todd was called out for posting about Stephanie flaunting her plane, and Stephanie basically just boils Todd down to what he is, which is, you know, she thinks he wants to be famous, popular, and I think Todd is cheesy, is how she wrapped it up. And I would concur.
Broken clock. Oh my God. And then Alexia says, this really, I think that Alexia was reaching. She says she and Stephanie are a lot alike. And Stephanie learned that Alexia is a kind person, but I have to talk to her in a certain way because Alexia is more sensitive than her. Again, weaponizing sensitivity and also not understanding what sensitivity is. And also her coping skill is anyone that disagrees with her, it's like, oh, well, you're sensitive. I want to take off my fucking headphones and throw them against the wall right now. My hands are in fists. I hate her.
It's just so
I hate her.
unself-aware. It's like, that is your defective character, Stephanie. And one of the first things I learned in 12-step rooms, which I found really helpful and quite enlightening, is if you meet more than 3 assholes in a day, it's time to look at yourself. And that shook me because I was like, but it's everyone else's fault. Everyone else is to blame. And it's like, well, that's a lot of people to blame. And weird, look who the common denominator is. And when I finally switched that narrative and took a look at myself about how I'm reacting, who I'm choosing to remain engaged with, it changed everything. So Stephanie sure does seem to just attract asshole after asshole into her circle. Poor thing. Everyone's so sensitive. How about you not be a cunt? Sorry, I said it.
I've been thinking it. I mean, my hands were in fists and I just said I hate her. Like that's
Well, and earlier
low
Alexia
base
had even said, Stephanie said,
behavior.
what I intended when I told Alexia not to dig in the trash to get Todd back, what I intended was that, she's great and he sucks. I just didn't realize she was so sensitive. And Alexia said, like, I'm not sensitive, you're insensitive. And I was like, that's it. That's it. You are insensitive. So take a breath, do a little work, be thoughtful of your audience, but no, everyone is sensitive and right.
She's too busy. She's too busy working.
Never
She's too
multitasked
busy
so hard
working.
in her life.
No, you misinterpret my tone. The stupid fucking
I literally
chest
wrote this
pounding thing
reunion
was so
could have been
dumb.
2 parts. Once we start taking time with that,
Honestly.
I was like, bye. And same with this last segment. It's Larsa's segment where we just talk about the ins and outs of following someone on Instagram if you're close with a friend and they've broken up with their ex. But I did get sad for Larsa. She did get emotional about how affected her kids were. Marcus was the first person she'd brought into the home since the dissolution of her marriage, and her kids were really upset with that breakup. And she said she had to bring her whole family to come stay with her because of how toxic it became. And I felt for Larsa in that moment. And I felt those were real tears she was trying to fight. And yeah, that was a real relationship and a real breakup and a real trauma.
I'm glad that she shared it. I have a hard time with housewives like Larsa and Kyle Richards who agree to be on the show. Their partners are on the show, and we don't see the real shit that goes down because they can't, they won't. And they don't owe me that. They don't owe me that. But then I feel like they take more than they give. You know what am I trying to say? Like, we didn't know any of this shit.
But
Larsa
I don't
didn't talk
either.
about
When
any
my
of it.
relationships are starting to dissolve, I don't talk about it. I mean, with my close
talk
friends,
about it with your
yes.
close
But I
friends?
guess what I appreciated about her is like, because you hope the relationship will endure its pitfalls. So I don't blame her for not talking about it. And I appreciated her honesty when someone asked, was it infidelity? And she said, I wish it was only that. So it sounds like lots of things went really far left. And, we know there's drug abuse, and that doesn't lead to like stable households. So it's as much as I've ever gotten from Larsa. She's so just like generally presents as like a blow up doll. And this was the first time I was like, oh, a human being is in there. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Like that visceral reaction when someone said, was it infidelity? And she was like, I wish it was infidelity. I was like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, is that why the kids have been in LA for so
shit.
long?
Jesus, what was he doing? Yeesh.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what
you
he
make
was
a good
doing,
point.
but anyway. And then we end just with a little bit. They give us kind of a clue to next week what they're going to be getting into when they talk about When a viewer calls Larsa out for shaming Lisa about being in Milan for Paris Fashion Week when her dad was dying. And like, again, that was just such a fucking low blow, man. They're working. It's a job. They're working. I don't know. But also,
I don't think it's like much of a cliffhanger. It's like she's crying because her dad's dead. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think it's all whatever. What else did you watch this week?
Salt Lake City, which about broke my brain. It about broke my fucking brain in so many ways, just so many ways. Again, I really, my intention was to try to do a solo episode about it. And I was like, I can't handle this. I'll be talking for 2 hours by myself. And not that I don't want to. I mean, obviously, we're going to cover Salt Lake City as soon as we're done wrapping up this reunion. It was intense, man. That scene with Muzzy and Bronwyn, I couldn't. I'm speechless still. There's
that
no
woman
words.
Is relentless. There's no grace, none. And Bronwyn is still in a little bit of a toxic dynamic with her. She's still trying to prove to mommy that she's okay. And that's why I appreciate what Kiki is doing, which is separate, get some help, and dip your toe back in and take baby steps. Because with someone like that,
no wonder Todd was the way he was about her parents in the episode where we saw them eating lunch together, where he was adding to Diet Coke. I know.
Oh,
I think it was iced tea, but
thank God.
Yeah. So, because for all of Todd's gruffness and faults, whatever, I do believe he's very protective of Bronwyn. And I cannot see my husband being okay with that kind of behavior from my parents. I was stunned for her. And again, I was disgusted by Lisa and her conversation with Bronwyn at that event venue where Lisa was just so passively, I already said it. She was just a very passive, her apologies
But
were
I appreciated
passive and
Bronwyn
terrible
for not
and,
accepting them. She was like, you know what? This is as far as we're going to get, and that's fine. So we'll be cordial to each other. Let's call it a day. And I was like, good. I'm glad. She didn't let Lisa get away with that. It's just like, all right, well, you live in a superficial file in my life, and that's that. Sorry.
So I watched that, and then I haven't watched Orange County yet. Oh my God, Love is Blind still, and I've never hated a Love is Blind cast more than I hate this cast. I'm not rooting for one person to stay together. I'm not rooting for one of them. Worst
Riveting
cast
TV, though.
Maybe it is the perfect cast. Riveting TV. So much trauma that needs to be healed. So much. Oof. Goddamn. I am just... but it's riveting TV. Yes, thank you. I will end there. Oh, yeah, and classic Roni. Just vintage Roni. Vintage Roni.
Yeah.
Tinsley's on the scene
miserable.
now. Carol and Bethany are on the outs. So, yeah.
I watched
How
Salt
about
Lake
you, friend?
City
What
as
did you
well,
watch?
and for me, the scene that stuck out the most was Whitney telling Brittany to stop like giving a light touch hand job to a cactus, put it down and listen to me. Put your daughter first. And Brittany was like wiggling and hesitating, like she doesn't want to put her daughter first. And her daughter is going to see this, and I feel so bad for that girl.
Blank
Just
behind
obsessed
the eyes.
with getting a man and unaware of the damage
Oh,
she's
my
causing
God.
her child. So that was the scene where maybe it was just because of where it was placed in the episode that by then I was like, I can't take any more of this. I can't take it anymore.
Yes.
I watched The Real Housewives of Potomac. They returned this weekend. It was great.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, Stacey. Oh my God.
Amazing.
What a mess of a woman. What a great cast member. We all did. But that's
knew
what's
it.
so satisfying about watching it is she thinks she's pulling a fast one. We're like, please, come on. Love is Blind. And then I watched football.
Totally.
There have been some really good games. So it's been fun to be back in season. And what was your antidepressant?
Good. Oh, no. I forgot you were going to ask me that. I don't know. Oh, my God. Oh, shit. Oh, I mean, okay. Let me see. I got to find something
It's okay.
Oh, fuck, I don't know. Oh, God. It's just been a real trying week. It's been a real trying week with like everyday life things and stuff that I knew was going to be stressful. And lo and behold, it was. Oh, shit. Okay. My antidepressant is that it's Friday.
No, don't apologize.
I'm sorry.
This is the whole
I don't
point
know.
of the antidepressant is it doesn't have to be something spectacular. It's all about sort of just like
Okay.
bringing it down into like just what is their gratitude for in this moment? What brings you joy? Uh, What brought you a little piece of joy this week, you know? Just so we're not fixated on, because the
Okay.
housewives can make me fixate on some negative shit. So we're just here to be like, let's send it out with what's good.
I think an antidepressant that I did this week, that I took this week, that I gave myself this week was that there was a day when I was just confounded by all the stuff that I didn't understand how I was going to untangle it or even start. And so it's like, okay, what is the very first thing I need to do? All right, Leo is out of clean jeans. Put a load of his jeans in the laundry. Things like that. Like what's in front of me. But yeah, it was not an easy week for me. So friend,
Well, I
how about
realized
you?
I
What was
was
your
just
antidepressant this
leading
week?
the witness. I was like, it's just something really simple, Ramona. Because guess what? Mine was really simple, you know, and you mentioned it in your text this morning and it like gave me a little warm, fuzzy feeling. So apparently I am like a Haitian mortician being silenced by a lover because I have a whole coffee machine set up that I'm obsessed with and I love it and I use it all the time. But I've been doing some work in a place that is close to a coffee bean, an actual coffee bean location. And so I went, this was a challenging week as well. And I went a couple times to go to the place, get the coffee bean drink that I love from the coffee bean with all of my annoying specifications. And when I tell you it was so satisfying, like I literally smiled and I was like, I said out loud, I was like, this is great. Like, I love it. And so many coffee bean locations have closed, but there's one right by where I am right now where I have to be for the next few weeks. And I'm like, that is
Yay.
so nice to know that, like, less than a mile away, I can walk, get like 20 minutes of fresh air, and return with like a delightful coffee beverage from a Southern California staple. So,
Oh my
my apologies
God.
for trying to project that onto you and direct your antidepressant so that mine felt significant enough, but it felt significant this week.
I love that. And it's just so funny because I would give anything
Oh,
to find a coffee bean right now. I
a
really
coffee
would.
bean
It would
mocha,
make me so
extra hot with
happy.
extra foam in a large cup so that there's lots and lots of extra foam. That's
Yes,
what I asked for. That's what I got. And that brought, it rejuvenated my whole body, mind, and soul.
of course. And there were times when I still lived in LA and I'd be like, oh, can we not go to
Right.
Coffee Bean? I want like good coffee. And
It's terrible.
because their drip
Oh,
coffee was so,
it's like
it's terrible.
airplane
It's
coffee.
just
It's not good.
awful, awful.
You have to get a fun drink there,
Yeah,
otherwise you're going to be disappointed.
exactly. And I texted you this morning. I'm like, I wish we could
I
record
know.
face to face across the table and clink
But it's
our
also
coffee
something about the
beans together.
person. So that coffee bean, I have an affiliation with my mom, you know, at that place. So when I think about having coffee
Mm,
with you, I'm like, oh, it's Pete's. With Ramona, it's Pete's. And it all tastes the same because
hmm.
it's about the company I'm keeping and, you know, so anyways. But I was delighted that you mentioned it in your text this morning. I was like, hooray.
Oh, I'm so glad. Oh my God, I love this. Oh, everyone, thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great week. Try to channel your inner Kiki and drink water and just try to be nice to yourself. And if you're confounded with what's in front of you, unload the dishwasher, load the dishwasher,
I
do the
heard
load of
something in
laundry.
a meeting this morning that was so helpful. Someone said, you know, that one of the slogans in 12 step rooms, which I have love hate relationships with those, but one of them is easy does it. And I'm like, ugh. But this morning, this woman was talking about how she's like, it's the word does. Easy does it. Like if you're go easy and it will get done. Like it's not just like, oh, chill out, follow your smile. It's like me trying to like grind and strangle my tasks into happening is crazy. It's true. When I relax, I can get more done, or I'm at least like less of a tightly wound bitch when I'm existing in the world. Anyways, you can cut that out, but it just it
I'm
it
absolutely
made sense
not.
to me this morning. It is being easy that accomplishes what I'm trying to accomplish. It is not me being like, come on, you idiot, get on it. You're moving too slow. That doesn't do it. It slows me down and makes me sad and tired.
My mind's blown. I've never thought of easy does it like that before. You just explained it. So I'm very
Yeah,
appreciative that you just said
that's
that.
a
Thank you. I
tribute to
learned
an
from,
anonymous person. So did I.
because
I
I
was like,
hated that
ugh.
slogan.
Yeah,
I was
it just
like,
sounded
this
like
is
oldie timey. And I was like, I
wink,
don't
wink.
get it. I don't know what that means.
Totally.
But
Yeah,
this
it's
morning,
stupid.
someone
Ugh.
shed new light on it. So there's that. I love you too.
I love you, friend. Look at you going to a meeting already.
Can't
That's
sleep.
amazing. Amazing.
You get it.
Oh,
No, but
shit.
it's fine.
Well,
At
that's
least
not
there's
amazing.
something
I
productive
do.
to do,
I
so I don't
do.
just sit and think my own thoughts in the morning. Ew.
Oh, goddamn. Do not be, yes. Don't. What do they also say in 12-step rooms? Go,
It's a
like, what they
dangerous
say about your
neighborhood. Don't
brain.
go there alone. Mm-hmm.
Don't go there alone, right? Anyway, okay,
love
enough.
you
All
too.
right, I love you, friend. Everyone, take really, really good care. We will talk next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.